All right, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so let's pick up where we were. So I know there's some discussions on Florida State and the coaches and all that kind of stuff. I don't think this is a coaching issue. I think this is just a lack of execution. And Florida State had ample opportunities to win this game.
hmm
That's what it just comes down to.
Yeah, and really it's just like we've talked about. It's just it's lack of personnel. We just don't um, have the players that really can play with Clemson. So the fact that we
Mm-hmm.
really only lost by 4 points, if you really want to get down to it, not including that touchdown at the end, you know, to play with Clemson, who has better personnel than we do, and to have a chance to win it there at the end and to really truly be in the game is, it should be a testament to the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The coaches, offensively and defensively have put our people in positions to make plays. And uh, they made some plays. They just didn't make all the plays that we could have and opportunities there. And that really hurt us in this game and hurt our chances to win. But it was there for us to win. Coaches had us there. What's the hashtag? Mike got us.
Mm-hmm.
He's got us there. And this is one of those games which I've talked to you, probably I've said it the last 2 or 3 years, Nate, to where it's like what I want to see, and I'll really truly believe we're headed in the right direction when we go into a rivalry game and we actually compete instead of getting embarrassed, because it's been 7 straight games where we've just been flat out embarrassed in rivalry games and like blown out, whooped on the field, like no chance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we went toe to toe with Clemson. We had our chances there, and we looked like we belonged on the field with Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And we came up short, but we're definitely headed to the right on the right path, and we are definitely there. Like this coaching staff to me, should still stay in place next year because it's building and it's getting better and better. Get better personnel next year, and things start to change. And even looking in recruiting, this game should be a positive in recruiting. Yeah, we fell short, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
you know, tell Kevin Coleman, hey, you know, you're a little bit faster than Helton, and you have better hands. Are you going to
You
make
could have
that
made that play.
catch? You're going to make
Mm-hmm.
that play, and now all of a sudden we have 7 more points, and now at the end we don't have to do all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So and if a recruit is smart, they should see that and be like, okay, coach is putting them in positions. Even Coach Fuller, Coach Dillingham, Coach Norvell, they're putting them in positions to make plays, and sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And if you have the cojones as a recruit, you're going to look at that and be like, I'm going to make that play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the person who's going to make that play. I'm going to be an alpha male. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make that play. And to be fair, we have quite a few. Jermaine Johnson was making some plays. Kier Thomas made some nice plays. Toa Feely made a very nice play. You know, uh, we had a freshman Cooper get his first interception. Great play
Mm-hmm.
there. Dent
Great
showed up
play.
tonight. Dent showed up and had a good game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some people that are moving in places. We just got to get more of those guys, and hopefully these recruits, see that and be like, okay, I'm going to come in and be that change, you know. And I think this will help us hold on to like stuff like Woody, which things look a lot better
Mm-hmm.
now with Woody than they did 2 days ago. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. It sucks that we lost, but it's a really positive game to me because I just wanted us to see us play against a rival and go
Right.
toe to toe with them and not just buckle.
Yeah,
You know,
it's the first time Florida State since Jameis and Dalvin has played a rival and they've looked competitive. Yeah, you
yeah,
can say Clemson's down this year, and we've talked about that. But the point of the matter is Florida State played this game, they competed, and they had a legitimate chance to win this game.
hmm
If anything, this game just shows you they still don't have the playmakers yet
yep,
to pull a game out like this. And unfortunately, some of the bad habits reared their ugly head with untimely penalties or, just situationally dumb penalties. It happened tonight, and it goes to show that this team still has room to grow. But for me specifically, I like what Florida State did overall on offense. They went against one of the best run defenses in the country. Um, all week, everyone talked about how Florida State was going to have to run the ball, and they did overall. Not like they have throughout the season, but they were going to have to make plays in the passing game. And other than that play by Toa Philly, they were a letdown there, and that's what's got to be figured out going into next season, because the running game is just going to get better. They're going to get better. It's going to be year 3 in the system. The running game is going to be absolutely dynamic next year. What's going to put this team over the edge next year is, can this team figure out the passing game on a consistent basis? And I think if Florida State would have done that today, I think they would have beat Clemson by 10 because of just how poor of a Clemson team this was. But, you give him credit. Will Shipley stepped up, showed why he was a 5-star number one back in the country. He's healthy. DJ, whatever, is not a great quarterback. And they run the defense, and that's just what it came down to. Florida State, what was, for the best and safest way to put it, the cleanest way to put it was gypped by the refs. I thought there were quite a few calls that were very questionable. That pass interference, roughing the passers, and not giving that same call to Florida State when Clemson was, hitting Travis after the pass was thrown, or I don't think it was very fairly called. But you can't leave it to the refs. So, there were, especially that pass interference call that put them, in that position to score the go-ahead touchdown. That was just, you can't call that, not that stage of the game. But, overall, I feel good where Florida State's at right now. You look at the rest of the schedule, and if Florida State would have won today, I think 6-7 wins would have been very likely. I still think that they can compete for a bowl game. I don't know what you think about that moving forward after this game.
Yeah, I definitely think we can compete to get to 6 wins. We went into Death Valley and stood toe to toe with Clemson, and the things that they really hurt us on was their defensive front 7 and the pressure they were able to bring and the penetration. Nobody else has that personnel. NC State doesn't. Especially if you look at, okay, well, what's our remaining road games? Okay, we go at Boston College. They got nothing compared to that. So can we go into Boston College and get a win? Yeah, Boston College is not a good football team. Can we beat NC State at home? Sure, we absolutely can. Can we beat Miami at home? Sure. Miami's playing better, but I've never thought Pitt was a very good football team from the get-go. They're giving up 34 points to Tennessee, 44 points to Western Michigan. So, their quarterback had a great game, but look at what their defense has done against any offense with a pulse, and it's not impressive. So, I don't take a whole lot of stock in, it's a good win. They're playing with more energy. Sure. They're still not a very good football team, and Pitt's not, they're an okay team, but there's really not a good football team in the ACC this year to where you look at it and be like, we can't beat them. Like, there's just not. So, we can beat NC State at home. We can beat Miami at home. We can beat Boston College on the road. That's 6 wins right there. Are we going to necessarily win all 3 of those games and then win the next 3 games? It's still going to be tough, but we can absolutely get there. And going into Florida is tough, but they're not a great football team either. And they have some issues as well. And they don't have the defensive front 7 that Clemson does either. So, we should be able to get more chunk plays and more stuff in the ground game against all of those teams than we were against Clemson and keep us in the game. So, Florida now is.
Let me ask you this.
Yep.
Michael says that the score is deceiving. The offense was scoreless for 38 minutes. Clemson missed field goals. That's part of the game. But also Florida State missed opportunities on the Clemson side of the field with turnovers that they could have put up 14. So each team had quite a few missed opportunities to win this game. And that's what it just comes down to. This this team didn't have the playmakers to make it happen, and Clemson did. They just had just enough to get that W. I agree with this. I was disappointed with the cornerback play. I know Clemson's got really good receivers that are big body guys. And Florida State struggled with that today. They were able to get separation. Like I said earlier, when I was having the issues with Wi-Fi, I thought that Florida State could have done better. I thought both pass interference calls, the one on Knowles and the one on Johnson or on Jones, were just
awful.
Were horrible, awful calls, awful. But they were still able to get separation on a consistent basis. And Van Dyke is one thing is he's very comfortable stretching the field, and that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But I do think that Florida's winnable. I think Boston College is winnable. I think NC State's winnable. It's going to be very interesting to see how things unfold. But they got to figure this out, with the passing game, and they're very limited, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, the thing with our cornerbacks, and you're right on that aspect, but I don't even think there is as much separation. It's just Jones, Brownlee, and Jay. Not Jay so much tonight. He didn't play a whole lot, but he was in there some. But I personally think that touchdown against him was offensive pass interference, a push off. A clear missed call.
Yeah, it was, but he was just out of position. Yeah. How you gonna get beat by a jump ball against a tight end? When that's supposed to be your specialty.
The issue is and it's been the same issue with those corners. All three of them, and even Dent when he was playing corner. It's just they don't make plays on the ball. Is some of that coaching? Sure. But in the end, like, a playmaker is going to make a play. Do you think Hunter is going to make a difference whenever he comes in with the coaching? He's going to make plays on the ball because that's what he does. Knowles does that. Knowles does that. He makes plays on balls. So, I don't think it's really a coaching issue. I just think it's some people have that knack and that instinct to turn around and be able to make those plays. Some people don't. We have corners like Jones and Brownlee. They're covering a lot better than they have, and that's the coaching aspect. They just don't make plays on the ball. The final product, it just misses. And that's one of the things with like the personnel issues. If we just had one corner that made a play that could make those plays more consistently, it's not an issue. If we just had a receiver who could make plays consistently, especially downfield, it's not an issue. But we just don't have those pieces. And does Hunter come in and be that piece? Does Coleman come in and be that piece? Does McCall come in and be that piece? To just one or two pieces completely changes the makeup of even this game. And, personally, I've seen a lot of progression from Travis. He's still not there. He's still not great or anything like that. I've seen a lot of progression in him throwing the ball and stuff like that. Long ways to go, but there's a lot of progression to where I'm not as concerned about him going forward. I don't think it's an automatic Duffy will come in and start next year. I think Purdy and Travis and Duffy will battle for that. And Duffy will start if he's the elite player we think he is. But I don't think he's going to have to start, which is a good thing. So I think we said that last week as well.
Correct. So how much does this Jacksonville State game hurt in terms of making a bowl?
It hurts a lot. It hurts a lot because if we win that game, all we got to do is go 2-2 down the stretch, against BC, NC State, Miami, and Florida. Just go 2-2. We're in a bowl, 6-6. Now we're looking at it to where we got to go 3-4, which is doable, but 2-2 is a lot easier, and we should be able to find 2 wins out of BC, NC State, and Miami. Personally, Florida is going to be a little bit tougher, especially in the swamp. Even despite the awful tweet they put out about the swamp, but that's another issue. But like NC State's, they're okay, but we can beat them at home. BC's not good. We can beat them on the road. Miami's okay, but we can beat them at home. So it'll be real interesting to see if we can walk into Florida at 6-5. And
Robin thinks that the play calling blowed. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that it came down to the players getting the job done and making the plays. They ski. Hold on, Luke Altmaier's in now. Matt Corral just limped off the field. But you look at the drop, not necessarily the drop, but Helton missing that touchdown. That is, a slight overthrow. You look at Helton dropping the third down. You look at a couple missed blocks. You look at the offensive line, not really having a great game. You look at 10 penalties. So I don't really would say that the play calling blew. I just think that the ability to make those plays happen is what blew.
Yeah. If you look at almost anybody who follows Florida State, and what did they say before Clemson? It's going to be tough to run on them because they're going to stack the box because they're not going to be scared of our passing game. In order for us to be able to move the ball on offense, we need to hit some of those chunk yardage plays in the passing game, especially early. We hit one, we hit another with Toafili with the running back wheel. Other than that, we missed on a few. And, we got to convert on those. We convert on those, it's a different ball game. But we didn't hit on enough for Clemson to back off. And they still crowded that line, and they still dared us to beat them throwing. And we couldn't. And we took our shots. And I think the offensive play calling was amazing. It's just, what do you do if your offensive line is getting whooped up front and the defense is daring you to throw and you can't throw? What do you do?
You're severely limited.
You're severely limited, So, he called a game in which he got the opportunities to the players, like you said. We didn't convert on all of them. We converted on some of them, not all of them. And
at some point, the players got to execute, Steve. That's what.
At some point, they do. They do.
That's what it just comes down to.
Yep.
It's a cyclical thing. You got to coach, got to develop, and the players got to execute and do their job and play smart. And that didn't happen today. So, as we start to wrap this up, there's no moral victories. I do think Florida State had a really good opportunity and they dropped the ball on this game. They could have won this game. Could have went 4 in a row, 4-4, and looked at a lot of confidence moving forward. So you as a coach doing this before, is this a blow to the confidence, knowing that they could have had this game, or is this just more proof of concept or proof of that, hey, the coaches are got us in the right direction?
It's more an issue of like the players. It's not even so much, okay, as a coach, but as a player, like, to me, if I was a player in this situation, I would be like, we had the opportunities. We were there to win. And especially if I've been there last year or the year before, and I've seen us get beat by Miami 52-10, get beat by Clemson, 3 years ago, 59-10. And I was there for all of those games. And now I see us go toe to toe and actually have a chance to win. I'm looking at this like, all right, we're a lot better than people think. Let's go, and let's go next weekend to NC State, and let's go, put a hurting on NC State. We got NC State next week, right? Yeah, the Miami's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go do that. And that's what I'm feeling like. I would definitely say this is more proof of a concept is there. We have to make the plays as the players, and especially the same thing with recruiting. We talked about that earlier. So how this game played out, I think it's definitely should be, some more confidence to where we went toe to toe with Clemson, who was in the national championship game. No, they got beaten in the playoffs in the first round. But either way, they were in the playoffs last year, and we went toe to toe with them. Yeah, they've had some injuries and they're down this year, and the quarterback's not playing as well. Either way, We had a chance to win. We blew it by making some stupid penalties and missing a few big play opportunities. We blew it, but it's there. We were there, and
Mhm.
it should be. If the players have any kind of confidence at all, it should be a boost to confidence. So.
Mm-hmm. So, just for, reminder, as I retweeted, someone on Twitter said this, and I think it's, just a good thought that this same team that lost to Jacksonville State almost beat Clemson. So if you can't see the improvements, you're just blind, or you have an agenda.
Yeah.
But they had the game won. I think that this gives them confidence, knowing that, just clean up a couple things, and they would have left, Death Valley breaking the 31 game win streak that the Tigers had at home, and I think that it just shows that, hey, we are moving in the right direction. Let's continue to fight as you try to get to 6 wins and get to that bowl eligibility. And that's what it comes down to. You got a winnable game at home. I think with the way the team's been playing, you'll see a good crowd. And then, got to get some things ironed out with the offensive line. Got to figure out, where you're at. I know a couple of guys played banged up today, but got to see where you're at there. And got to. I like the fact that we saw a lot more 88 and 21 today at wide receiver, and they made a couple of plays. So you got to continue to work them in and just keep pushing. And we'll see. Next week, does this team come out flat? Do they come out, with a sense of urgency, and do they have that motivation? But as always, this is a post-game chop up with Nate and Steve, hosted by the Voice of College Football. Make sure that you listen live every Wednesday to the call-in show. Should be an interesting week with Florida just getting blasted by Georgia. Miami pulling out an upset against Pitt, and then Iowa getting just destroyed to Wisconsin. So lots of interesting games. I think that Mark will be talking about on Wednesday night. But we appreciate you joining us. Sorry about the issues with the Wi-Fi before. We'll move forward with me on the phone because it seems like it's a lot better. But Florida State loses. I'm calling it 24-20. I'm not counting that last touchdown. I don't care. I'm not counting that last garbage touchdown. 24-20. Florida State loses at Clemson, but they lose with a lot of opportunity to win that game. So overall, no moral victories, but I'm happy with what I saw. So we appreciate y'all listening in. We'll see y'all next week. Florida State's back at home against NC State. Y'all have a good night. Go Noles.
Go Noles.